Thank you so much, leaders, for joining us on another podcast at Dawdle.live. Thank you so much for supporting us thick and thin for the last 2 years of our journey so far. Today, we have got Mr. Samir, who had joined us to share his insights, his experiences, his prolific experiences changing brands. And this is going to be a very interesting session. We've got very interesting set of topics. But before we go there, would love to understand from you, sir, your journey so far to give a good context to our audience.
So I have worked across many brands in different industries, starting from Oberoi Group of hotels way back in mid 90s,
Hmm.
where I was part of the founding team when the Oberoi Bangalore property was being set up in Bangalore on MG Road. And I was part of the founding team picked up by PRS Oberoi himself, who's no more. He was a man, one of the finest visionaries in hospitality. And then, so I did my degree was in hospitality from ITC's Welcome Group, which is in Manipal. So then I got picked up from campus and we were setting up this new property in Bangalore. So I was with them during the first 4 or 5 years of this hotel coming up. And it became one of the leading hotels of the world, which is a very high, a very, very prestigious accreditation for hotels, basically, like an LHW, leading hotel of the world. So basically, there are very few hotels in India who have that recognition. So Oberoi Bangalore was one of them. And then I did my MBA abroad. I went abroad for studies. I worked in US for some time. I came back to India after this 9/11 and all that, and I launched a brand in India called Windshield Experts from scratch, which went on to become a market leader in 7 8 years. So that was like a startup experience of working within the organization, not as an owner, but as a founding professional, basically, which is like an entrepreneur, not like an entrepreneur, but like an entrepreneur. And then it became a very successful brand, 7 8 years. Then Dr. Lal PathLabs whole, building the brand of Dr. Lal PathLabs from, which was like a mid-sized company, not
Yes.
a startup, of course, a mid-sized company, 40, 50 crores, and then scaling it up. And 6 7 years I was with them.
Hmm.
So then went on to become one of Asia's largest diagnostic chains now. I
Yes.
mean, now it's a billions of dollars of valuation and all that. So that was like a 6 7x growth, seven
Hmm.
times. Then I also worked in, which is like a number two organization in diagnostics, or number two or number three, Metropolis, who were
Yes.
new in North, but they wanted to build the brand in North and set up their business in North.
Hmm.
They're very small, so obviously they wanted to scale up in North. The North is a big market for diagnostics, and I was with them for 2 3 years, and then one or two more assignments here and there in diagnostics. But healthcare has been one of the industries, it's been the only industry in my portfolio. But it's
Yes.
been around 40 50% of my 50%, I can say, of my
Hmm.
career has been in healthcare and all that. Then I worked in US. I've studied in Australia. So obviously, I've worked across businesses which have been in different stages of their life cycle. Either they have been startups or either they have gone for transformations, where
Hmm.
it's a mid-sized company, but now private equity has come in and they want to now scale up to making it a large company.
Hmm.
So I've got this experience in different life cycles of a company, startups, turnarounds. Yeah, I've done few turnarounds after Metropolis at a company in Chennai where the private equity people had called me because the business not doing well.
Hmm.
So they wanted to put Series B funding, but before putting Series B funding, they wanted to get their person from their side because they
Yes.
were not so happy with the owners of the company and all that.
Yes.
And sometimes, the owners dilute their equity. They hardly remain owners. They're like 5 10%. So
Yes.
the private equity people become the owners. So sometimes they bring their own person along with the capital.
Hmm.
So that was that kind of an arrangement. So it was like that. And then I worked in diagnostics also. I worked across different kind of business models. Either they have been greenfield ventures or they have been brownfield ventures. Greenfield is when you are opening your own labs.
Hmm.
Brownfield is when you're collaborating with regional partners.
Hmm.
So it's not as if you're opening your own labs, but you're more of a strategic alliance or a merger or an acquisition kind of a thing, where you're scaling, but you're not putting your own. It's not your lab.
Hmm.
You're doing some kind of a collaborative kind of. And then different other models in diagnostics where you're putting a lab inside a hospital, not outside, but actually inside the hospital.
Hmm.
So then you get all the business of the hospital like that, and the hospital becomes your hub. And you can bring samples from outside also then.
Hmm.
So different stages, different types of business models, different stages of their P&L. Sometimes they've been not doing well, sometimes they've been doing well, but they want to move from one to two.
Yes.
Sometimes they want to move from 0 to 1. It's been, and different sectors also: healthcare, hospitality, retail, automobiles. So Windshield Expert was part of automobile industry basically, because Asahi, it was part of Asahi Glass, which is world's largest glass company. So that was more like a retail venture. So I
Mm.
worked in US in a quality company also. And then I worked in an education company also in IT
Mm.
between my US stint and Windshield Expert, which was Wintech Computers. You must have heard about, you
Yes.
maybe
Yeah.
knew Aptech and Wintech. So Wintech was a market challenger. Aptech was a market leader. In those days, you used to have, a lot of focus on online education.
Mm.
Online education was a big thing in early 2000. So there were
Yes.
all these IT, like NIT was there.
And
There was Tech,
yes.
there was
Mm.
Aptech, and then there was a market challenger which I had launched in North called Wintech. It's a
Yes.
Mumbai-based company, Wintech Computers. So people in early 2000 would have seen this full, big ad coming
Mm.
literally every day in Hindustan Times or Times of India with a full page ad, full page. So Wintech Computers. So different stages, different business models, different industries.
Mm.
So that's given us some kind of a bird's eye view to things and things like that.
So how has marketing as a domain changed as per you? Like, now when you see the brands, the startups, how they're building the brands, do you see it to be a bit different to what was done, say, 10 years back or 15 years back?
So the concept of marketing will not change. Actually, earlier in early 290, in early 2000 and even late 90s, marketing was more of a consumer business. There's a lot of focus on principles of marketing. Those are days of Philip Kotler and all that. So there's a lot of focus on 4 P's of marketing, marketing more as a consumer science. But over the years, so I've been part of this whole journey. Now also, I'm involved in all this digital marketing and all that.
Ah.
So see, the concept of marketing won't change. The rudiments of marketing won't change.
Mm.
It's just the medium can change. Earlier we were having offline,
Mm.
then online came. Now we are getting into AI, open AI, chat GPT.
Mm.
So concepts of marketing won't change. I mean, the concept of marketing is basically you want to, you have to improve your market share and also mind share. You have to be top of the mind. Now you can change the messaging, you can change the medium, but the
Mm.
concept of marketing being a consumer business,
Mm.
it has to work on your psychology. It has to work on your emotional part of your brain, which is the limbic system. The amygdala in the brain is part of the limbic system, which is from where the decision making happens. That's the ancient part of the brain.
Mm.
That's an emotional part of the brain. The
Mm.
prefrontal cortex is more the rational part of the brain.
Mm.
Where we are always looking at the rational side of things.
Mm.
But interestingly, the decisions are ultimately made from the limbic system, which is the emotional part of the brain. In politics also, and in business also, and in marketing also. Ultimately, people win elections not on hard issues, but on softer issues. So emotional aspects are very important. So marketing more like a science, more like psychology, consumer behavior. So that is why good marketers always read a lot of psychology and all that, because basically what are you doing? You're playing on people's mind. You're looking at what kind of people they are. People are classified into three parts: either their visuals,
Mm.
or their auditories, or their kinesthetics. So
Mm.
visuals are people who mostly, take cues from look and feel and from the visual part. So in an
Mm.
ad, if you've seen, the visual part is important. Auditories are more from the sound and all that, the tone, the sound.
Mm.
So for a podcast, it's both auditories and visuals, both things are combining. And that's why podcasts have become so important, because it's targeting both sides of the continuum.
Right.
Kinesthetics are people who are mostly making decisions out of emotions and all that, which is very important. The look and feel, the emotional part, the psychology, the all those aspects. So when you combine all the three,
Mm.
that's is very important for a marketer, because he has to find out what the target audience is. Is my
Mm.
target audience a visual? Is he
Mm.
an auditory, or is he a kinesthetic? And then he has to adapt, align his messaging as per the target audience.
So how to find out that, sir? Like,
You have to find out, you have to, for example, Gen Z, we
ah.
know that Gen Z is
Mm.
more of visual, and like that. And basically you have to experiment with your communication and see
Mm.
what's working for you, what's not working for you.
Mm.
Also, in a one-on-one marketing, you can find it out very easily. The
Mm.
person is emotional or he's more of a visual. See,
Mm.
even when you are talking, na,
Ah.
visuals will give you those signals. He'll say, I can see what you're saying. But an auditory will say, I can hear what you're trying to tell me. So they will use these different words. Now, these words are called signals.
Yes.
So they will let you know what representational set they belong to. These are
Yes.
called representational sets. So marketing is a consumer behavior. It's science also. It's an art also. It's
Hmm.
also about persuasion. It's also about influence.
Hmm.
It's not only about, it's also about product. What is your
Yes.
core product? What is your secondary product? What is your tertiary product?
Hmm.
For example, in a hotel, the core product is to a room, but
Yes.
that's not where the competition happens. The competition happens at the tertiary level,
Hmm.
the room with probably better bedding, a room with better AC, a room with, music, a room which is bigger in size, a room with the right kind of appointments,
Yes.
a butler service. You press the button,
Hmm.
someone will come and give you service. Each floor can have a butler. You don't have, someone doesn't need to come from ground floor on 10th floor, takes time. So the butler is on the floor. So you
Yes.
press that, your butler will come from your floor. So every floor will have a butler. So
Yes.
it's very fast. So that's where the competition happens in every business.
Hmm.
Even in the podcasting business, basic idea of podcast is an exchange of ideas between two people. But the sound, the lighting, the mood, the ambience, that's what turns great podcasters and average podcasters and all that. So the secondary product, the tertiary product is very important in marketing. So marketing is not only a medium. A lot of people are seeing these days in digital media, or digital medium is marketing. Digital medium is just a medium. 10 years from now, there could be some other medium. But the concept of marketing, the consumer business, the consumer psychology is going to be the same.
Got it. Now we'll talk a bit about your experience at Metropolis Healthcare, where you kind of turned the weakest reason into a fastest growing one in a very short span. Love to understand from you, sir, like what were the toughest decisions that you had to take in the initial 90?
See, Metropolis was more like a place which was been, the business has been there for a long time, but they're not doing well. So of course, see, when you, as a leader, when you are entering an organization at senior levels, the board will always tell you what the mandate is. It's not that you have to discover something and there's like you didn't know.
Hmm.
And then suddenly you walked into a company which is bad or good or ugly, or it's a turnaround or a transformation. At
Hmm.
senior level, especially at CXO level, the mandate is very clear.
Yes.
This is what is happening in our company. That's why we are bringing you in. So there are no surprises then. The surprises are there that if they have told you the temperature is 98 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature probably could be 103. So they won't tell you exactly what it is, because obviously then no one will join any company, right?
Yes.
And but you get an idea that, yeah, this company is not doing well. Their P&L is not good. They're losing money. They have a lot of people, but productivity is an issue. And the new leader is expected to improve the P&L.
Yeah.
So from maybe a -5 EBITDA, the leader is expected to deliver 10% EBITDA or 20% EBITDA and all that. So
Hmm.
then you know what is expected out of you. Metropolis was one of those which is a very large company, very profitable company, but in North, they were not doing well because they were new, and a lot of times the teams had changed and they had not got their act together. So
Hmm.
obviously, when you join such a company, you have to obviously take hard calls, because the company is losing money.
Yeah.
So hard calls could be putting the right people in the bus, removing the bad people from the bus, then
Hmm.
putting the right people on the right seats, and then deciding where to take the bus. So you have to do all those 4 or 5 things. And when it's that kind of a thing, then you lose people, you gain people. It's more about alignment. It's more about changing the culture, maybe. If it's a company is too laid back, then obviously it's more performance oriented. You have to put KPIs in place. You have to put KRAs in place. You have to set the expectations right, that this is what is expected for you. It's not like a job 9 to 6, but obviously you're expected, to deliver those 4 or 5
Hmm.
key responsibility areas, or your main key performance indicators, as it's called, KPIs.
Yes.
So expectations have to be set. People like growth. People are okay with growth. The
Hmm.
problem happens when you're not setting the right expectations. And the leader is not transparent. The leader has to make it very clear to everyone that this is what we are trying to do. But the company is not doing well. So we have to give it an injection. We have to do this. We have to do that. Set the right expectation. Then it's okay. But if the people are not aware, that's where the problem happens. So we have to take some hard calls, basically, and then set up the organization, make a plan, lot of execution focus,
So what were those, a couple of hard calls that you had to take, sir?
getting right people, making way for asking some dead votes to leave, because every company, when it's see, in business, you have to take hard calls. That's why a leader has to be decisive. He has to be firm, but he has to be fair also. See, no one wants to be in a loser's locker room, right? Even the employees don't want to be in a locker room of losers. They always want to be in a locker room of winners. And
Yes.
once you're doing that, so obviously in an organization, you'll be surprised that a
Mm.
lot of times people know that these are the guys who are, because of them, the company is not doing well.
Yes.
And once the leader identifies them and then he makes way for them, the other team members are not so unhappy, or they are, in fact, happy that someone is actually taking decisions because they have not seen anyone taking it.
Yes.
The problem is when you're not fair, when you play politics, when you know that when you try to form, when you're not, you are not being impartial, when you're firm, when you're fair, when you're taking the right actions, when you know that if someone is wrong, then you are telling him, and when someone is right, you're telling him, when it's equal, right? Then there is no issue. The issue is when someone is doing great, but you're unnecessarily creating problems for him.
Yes.
Then you're playing politics, which is
Mm.
not the right thing. Then that leader doesn't get much respect.
Mm.
Those leaders don't stay in organizations for long because sooner or later the board finds out. The company top management finds out sooner or later, then things are not right. Because in the beginning, people can impress, right, in an interview and all that. But after 2, 3 years, when progress comes, when growth comes, growth will never come with the wrong leader. Growth will always come with the right leader because ultimately teams have to win, not companies. Companies are just brick and mortar. The
Yes.
teams have to win. So long term success comes from the right leader, comes from the right team. We have to get the right people in the bus. I use this analogy, metaphor. Get the right people in the bus, remove the wrong people from the bus, then put the right people on the right seats. You can't put good. Someone is good in marketing. You give him a back end work. It's not going to
Mm.
help, right? Then you have to put alignment. It's called strategy has to have structure. You may
Yes.
have a great strategy, but you may not have the right alignment. That
Yes.
won't work, right? You got a great car, but the wheels are not aligned. It's
Mm.
of no use. You can have a BMW also. So
Yes.
you have to put the strategy, the structure. Management is like everything. It's not this or that. It's everything. You have to diagnose the entire problem.
Yes.
Where is the problem? Is it organizational? Is it a people's issue? Is it a leadership issue? Is it a strategy issue? Is it a cost issue? Is it that people are good, but they have not been motivated, or they
Mm.
have not been given the strategy? Is it that everything has been given, but people are taking it easily? You have to
Yes.
really get into what is called as a submarine mode. You have to go deep and then find out what's missing. It's like diagnosis and prognosis. Like you go to a doctor, he has to find out, right? So he'll ask you to do some tests, right? So like
Yes.
that, even an organization has to do diagnostic tests. The leader has to be the doctor. So
Mm.
he has to find out. Sometimes you have to experiment also.
Yes.
Sometimes the plans won't work
Mm.
because the board has told him something. The board doesn't have an idea, because if the board had an idea, the board would have delivered 5 years back, right? So
Yes.
sometimes the right leader has to tell the board, actually, this is not the problem. So the candor means being very forthcoming. Candor is very important in business. You have to be straightforward. You have to tell. No, it's called facing the brutal facts. You have to face the brutal facts. Brutal fact means you have to call a spade a spade.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to be like a bull in a china shop, because if you are like a softy, you will remain for 2 years and then you will be like
Yes.
the 10th CEO in that company. So if you're a leader who's got a good track record and you want to build a good track record, then obviously you need to get into details. You have to build a great company, you have to build a great team. You have to motivate people. You have to be fair, but you have to be firm also. You can't be just fair and not firm. You have to give lot of times you have to empower people, but with empowerment comes responsibility, accountability. If you give power to someone, then you have to hold him accountable also. And you can't get after a guy also without giving him any kind of power. Then how will he do? You have to delegate also, right? Without delegation, how will he deliver? So
Yes.
management is science, art. Like marketing, management is also everything. So it's not this or that. You have to find out what the company wants.
Mm.
Sometimes you have to be candid to tell the owners of the company that this is not that will work. This is the problem. That is the problem. It's a little difficult, but that's how it is. There's no one formula.
Yeah. Now, sir, when we talk about Dr. Lal PathLab, you were brought from outside the healthcare industry as a change agent in that company. Would love to understand from you that how can an outsider's perspective help challenge legacy thinking, especially in established sectors?
First of all, corporate world has to realize,
Hmm.
I keep on saying it, corporate world has to realize that, the recruitment process has to be better. I've
Yes.
seen mostly if you're hiring a hospitality guy, they'll say कि यार उसने hospitality में काम किया है कि नहीं. They'll always take people from hospitality. If it's an automobile, they'll say, we want someone from automobile. So that is not right, actually. Because then you are like you have a lot of these blinders. The best visionary leaders I have seen have brought people from outside the sectors and all that. So if a company wants customer service, a company wants that their differentiator. Remember, I told you core product, secondary product, tertiary product. If
Yes.
they know that beyond the product, they need service. Sometimes there is a product, like in diagnostics. What is the product? The product is not that you take something. The product is an accurate report.
Right. Yes.
When you get an accurate report, that means you've checked cholesterol. The company tells you this is your cholesterol or your triglycerides or your lipid profile or your sugar. You're getting a report from the company, a diagnostics company, and that report that you get, you are very sure that that report is authentic, that that report is correct, that the values that they have given you, if your cholesterol is 150, they're not saying your cholesterol is 400. Or if your cholesterol is 350, they're not telling you your cholesterol is 200. Imagine the treatment will be incorrect. And if the treatment is incorrect, everything changes. The biggest problem in healthcare today is what is called as incorrect diagnosis. The biggest disease of the world in healthcare is incorrect diagnosis. Either it is overdiagnosis, or it is diagnosis, or it is unnecessary diagnosis. You don't have a problem, but the doctor says you have a problem because the report was wrong. You have a problem, but the report says you have no problem. The doctor says no need for medicines. In one place, he's giving you more medicine. In one place, he's not giving you. So either it is, so that is the problem. That is the biggest problem because of wrong diagnosis. Same thing is happening when you come from outside the industry. You got a 360-degree view of business. You can bring best practices from some other company and use it in that sector. The problem in industry is that they keep the same recycled people.
Yes.
So the same recycled people go to company A, then go to company B, then go to company C, then go to company D in the same industry. So it doesn't help the industry.
Yes.
So, and that's why a lot of industries you see there's nothing happening until they bring a change agent from outside. The change agent is basically storming the norm. He's basically shaking you up, all your beliefs, all your belief system, that this is how it is. There is nothing like this is how it is. It
Yes.
depends on business because a customer can be common.
Yes.
Customer of a diagnostic company can also be a customer in a hospital, can
Yes.
also be in a customer at a Starbucks.
Right.
So a customer in a Starbucks can also be a customer at your diagnostics company. So segmentation is not right. The new concept is aggregation. So you have to find out what the customer stands for. What is those motivations of a customer? So obviously, when you have a range and you work across sectors, you build multiple kind of emotional intelligences and you're able to relate better. If you are just fixated to one industry, then you will always think, "Is industry mein yahi hota hai," which is not right. Then you can't be a challenger or you can't disrupt an industry.
Right, sir.
That's why the same industry, large companies are not able to disrupt. Always a startup will disrupt. Because a startup is coming from zero, from no baggage. And the startup knows, oh, I'm going to do this better. This company takes 2 days to do it. I'm going to do it in 20 minutes. Whether it's a Blinkit or whether it's a Swiggy or whether it's a Zomato, basically they're not doing anything new. They've not invented anything. Neither they own the customer, neither they own the vendor. They are just in between adding value because they know that time is important. Giving that temporal benefit, which is a time benefit. They know that, oh, people don't have time. If I can give this in 10 minutes, lot of customers may give us a chance. Sometimes you have to figure out the need could be better service or sometimes cleaner food, or you have to figure out what the customer wants. So the guy who comes from outside has got independent thinking, he's got fresh ideas. He's seen that this has worked in that company. This company is not even thought of that. But the target customer is more or less the same in terms of values, in terms of motivation, in terms of the kind of person that he, and he says, oh, that can be used. And a lot of these strategies I try to bring from windshield experts to Dr. Lal's also in terms of retail strategies on even marketing. Like I was the first perhaps who brought FM in diagnostics, because I thought the customer is always in the car, the office goer is
Yes.
always in the car. And if he gets an ad where, you're talking about preventive healthcare, you check your heart regularly or you check your health regularly, where we are trying to say that prevention is the cure. When I was trying to build that wellness category,
Yes.
I gave FM ads and all that because it made sense. that white space that a person has, he's listening to the ad, it's going in his mind, and whenever he needs it, he'll do it because his wife must be telling him every day, go for a checkup, go for a checkup. He's not going. But when he hears that ad, when the number is so catchy, so I told them put a catchy number. So the catchy number was like 5050. So people will remember it. All these small, small things can make a difference. And he'll call up, he'll get that test. You have to be at the right white space. White space is very important for marketers. White space is when you have no clutter in your mind. That is the time when you can become part of what is called in marketing as becoming part of a consideration set, which is like forming schemas. Like for example, when you think of music, what do you think of? Bose, or you can think of boat these days. Or when you think of fast food, you can think of Swiggy or Zomato, or
Yes.
in grocery nowadays, you're thinking of Blinkit. So what is this? You talk about a category and you are like, oh, one or two companies. You think about mobile phone, you can think about Samsung or Apple. They become part of your consideration set.
Yes.
So mind share is important, not only market share. The marketer has to do that. But once you come from different sectors, then you have grappled with a lot of other kind of strategies. So
Yes.
you bring that fresh, independent, neutral thinking. Out of 10, maybe 7 ideas may not work, but you'll be surprised those 2 ideas that work will be the game changers.
Yes.
So in marketing, you don't need 10 great ideas. One great idea executed properly can be a game changer. You don't need a laundry list. You need that one big ticket moving the needle idea that moves the needle. And you have to figure it out. Oh, it's worked in healthcare, but this industry is like healthcare because it's a low involvement, high involvement category. It can work in that. That's why a lot of times the hospitality guys do well in healthcare because hospitals is hospitality, healthcare is hospitality only because you're talking about one on one, the touch and look and feel. It's more or less a lot of one on one connection. One
Yes.
on one connection, hospitality guys will always be good. So you have to figure it out. So coming from outside has its pros and its cons because you're disrupting. Sometimes your teams can resist. Oh, yahan ye nahi chalta, yahan nahi hota. But believe me, when the results will come, then they will be the first ones to clap for you.
Yes.
So they'll see the results. So we have faced all that in different sectors, but we have come over it.
So when we talk about scaling a consumer brand across hundreds of cities, it requires consistency and also local relevance. So how did you balance national brand building with regional execution?
So first of all, in marketing, you have to have one super idea, which is called the why of the business. The why of the business is not the how and what. The best businesses, the best marketers, or the best people who are starting any business, whether it is a food business or a hospital or healthcare, or is what is the why of your business? It could be a mission, a cause, or a belief. So it has to be that purpose driven kind of a thing. The purpose will always be constant. For Steve Jobs, the purpose was to change the status quo of people, right? To empower people. Computer was just a way of doing it. If he didn't empower people with a computer, he would have empowered people with something else. So the why of the business was to empower the human spirit. So computers became that medium because same way, the why of the business, what I try to do as a leader is that I define the why of the business with the owners or with the board because it has to be either a mission, a cause, or a belief. So if the why of the business is like growth, because growth helps everyone, or putting a smile on people's faces, then you have to figure out if putting a smile, then what it means. It doesn't mean a lab business with a microscope. Then it means accurate report. Because
Yes.
when will you put a smile on people's mind? When the diagnosis and prognosis will be correct. The treatment will be correct. When the phlebotomist who has to come to take the sample will come on time. Then you will get the report on time on your app. You don't have to call up 100 times. It will become customer friendly. You
Yes.
don't have to leave the house. You can get the person to take the sample from your home and you can get the report also online. So it's so convenient. What does convenience do? It brings a smile on your face. Oh, I have not seen this earlier. Earlier, you used to be driving 10 kilometers, parking your car, shouting with the parking guy. Sometimes your car would get lifted by cops. Or then when you would come back after giving blood sample, you would see the car is at police station. All that was happening in India.
Yes.
The labs were located in congested areas, or your car would get someone would bang your car, or you had to pay 100 rupees to get parking, or you have to pay 50 rupees, or you have to pay the guard 10 rupees. But you remove the hassle from the equation. Customer didn't ask it. You figured it out. You discovered it. You sliced the customer needs. You went out. You went down. What does the customer want? So you figured it out.
Hmm.
And that was the why of your business, a very overarching kind of a concept, which is it could be a mission or a cause or a belief. Then based on that, the hows and whats will come out. That
Hmm.
if this is the mission, that this is how we will do it. If putting a smile is a mission, then we will do, for
Hmm.
example, we'll do home service. We'll come home.
Hmm.
We'll give the report in 2 hours. We'll give an accurate report. We'll give best technology. We'll handle the children better. We'll use those needles that don't pain more when taking out the sample.
Yes.
The whole equation will be to put that smile on people's face. We'll not give a late report, because
Hmm.
once you give a late report, people are irritated. The doctor is missing the doctor's appointment. So you're not counting samples, you're counting smiles. Of course, every business is to make money, but obviously you have to also first look at as a as a mission, as a cause, as a belief. And this is good for all companies, by the way. So that is always constant. The whys and the hows and the whats can be localized. Coming to your question, which
Hmm.
is called as glocal, and some you must have heard this word glocal, which is your global mindset but
Local
local
execution.
execution. So it's
Yes.
the same. The overall concept, the overall will always be common. Your local execution, because you need feet on the street. So obviously that part, obviously you can't do sitting in the head office. So obviously you have to, if you're putting a lab in Trivandrum, then you have to be little local. Your
Hmm.
lab manager will be local. He speak a different language, and you have to keep a local guy. You
Yes.
can't keep a North Indian taking from Delhi and put him in Trivandrum. No, you
Yes.
will lose business. No customer will come back to you. You have
Yes.
to put a local guy who speaks that vernacular,
Hmm.
understands the customs, the religion, the culture. So that way he'll talk to them.
Yes.
He knows that you have to open the door, because that in their culture is important. You can't let the customer open the door. Small, small things
Yes.
make the difference. Lot of times, lot of companies are good in north but not good in south. This is a big problem.
Yes.
They call themselves market leaders, but they're not good in all geographies, because obviously they're not able to adapt. So hyper localization is the new thing. And artificial intelligence, by the way, because we are in a world of AI,
Hmm.
hyper localization is what artificial intelligence for marketer means. That's what AI has to do for marketers,
Yes.
making the message very precise, precision, and making it localized. You
Yes.
can't do it. You can't do it. So
Hmm.
artificial intelligence will help you to do it, because it has to be done quickly. So that is the role marketers need AI for, to make it so hyper localized that otherwise you can't do it using your legacy marketing.
Yes.
But now AI will help you to make it hyper localized, make it hyper precise. So adaptation is what AI can give you. Overall can be same. You getting my point?
I'm getting the point.
So that's what we did. We primary thing was same. The tentacles were different.
And sir, what do you think are the most underestimated challenges in scaling a startup into a national brand?
As I said, sometimes you have that fixation that in this industry this only happens. Sometimes it is also when someone comes from outside the industry, there is that kind of a feeling that how what does he know? How will he know it? He's
Hmm.
not from the industry.
Yes.
Or sometimes you're getting a sales guy, and then he's not a marketing kind of guy, but he's a sales guy, and you're
Hmm.
saying that you come for a marketing role. So I didn't have that challenge, but of course I've had this challenge of moving sectors. But thankfully, because of my track record, which by the way is quite decent, so I didn't have that, because the board had picked me up to make Dr. Lal PathLabs a consumer brand.
Wow.
Because as a laboratory business, it was more about hardware, but they needed more like a consumer brand. So my mandate basically there was to turn a lab business into a national consumer brand. A national consumer brand means I have to look at the business as an FMCG now. So I use the word FMHG, which is
Hmm.
fast moving healthcare goods. So in healthcare, FMCG means FMHG,
Yes.
because diagnostic business is actually an FMCG business, because you have to do the see today you go to a doctor, he's not going to start treatment until unless he'll say you go and do these tests.
Right.
You go to a doctor 20 years back or even 15 years back, he would
Hmm.
give you medicines. He
Hmm.
would open your eyes, he would see your tongue, he would see your color or this and all. He would
Hmm.
know that you got typhoid and all that. Give you medicine. Today, he won't do that.
Hmm.
Today, it's very scientific. Earlier, it was based on doctor's gut.
Yes.
Today, it's more evidence based scientific, which is good because of medico legal reasons.
Hmm.
The doctors can't just say this is typhoid. Tomorrow something happens. It was dengue and he said it's typhoid and wrong medicine went. The doctor is going to lose his license. So today the doctors don't take chances. Good, it's a good thing, but they're missing out on the art part.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
need both. This should validate basically. It should be a confirmation. Oh, he knows it's dengue based on the symptoms and all that. But he says you do this test also. So then you're 100% sure ki yes, this is what it is. That is where that issue is. So one of the stumbling blocks that we face is that when we went for preventive health checkup, when we said we're going to shift the paradigm from illness to wellness. Earlier, people would go to a diagnostic lab when they were not well. They would go to a doctor. People would go to a doctor when they were not well. The doctors would say, go do these tests. And then they would do the diagnostic tests when they were not well. But we changed the equation, Rishikesh. We said that let people go when they're healthy.
Yes.
Because then the market size is everyone is your market size. Earlier, your market size of people who are ill. So if 10% of the population falls ill every year and Delhi has 2 crore people, so 20 lakh is the market size, right?
Yes.
Now we are saying all 2 crores go for test because you have to become preventive in your mindset. Why preventive? Because if you are able to detect earlier, then the treatment will be beneficial for you.
Yes.
Whether you are able to detect someone at a pre-diabetes stage, at a pre-diabetic stage, you can prevent diabetes. If you are able to see liver enzymes SGOT and SGPT earlier, that they're outside the range, you can prevent fatty liver.
Yes.
You can prevent a cardiac arrest tomorrow if you're able to see the triglycerides are more, this is more, and then there are some other markers of heart problems. If you're able to see those markers earlier on, then you're able to do the correction. The problem happens that you've allowed it to reach a stage where now reversing it is so difficult. Now you have to go for a bypass surgery only because you come to the doctor at 80% blockage. But if you had gone at 40% blockage by doing those tests, for example, if it's a CT angio, which we say, CT angio test, which even the best cardiologists will say, you do it, yeah. You don't have to do it when you're having chest pain. You do it at least once a year or do it at least when you're in your early 40s or somewhere that you are able to see, here, I've got 50% blockage. The 50% blockage can be reversed, but you're going too late where it's already blockage 80-90%. A lot of these problems are asymptomatic. You don't see the problem until it is too late. So preventive healthcare said that prevention is the cure. So we will check you regularly to stay healthy. So check regularly to stay healthy. So there are these 15-20 important tests that will give you, which is like a good dipstick for you to know what's going on in your body, because health is always inside. Health is not outside.
Yes.
We go to the gym, it's all for society. It's good for how you feel, but real health is inside. So that is why these days you will find a lot of toffee. I call it toffee, TOFI, toffee. Thin outside, fat inside.
Right.
Fatty liver. Fatty liver is the biggest lifestyle issue in last 4 or 5 years. And non-alcoholic, they're not drinking, they're not doing anything, but they still have fatty liver because of their lifestyle issues. The kind of food they're eating, this, that, and all that. So we went for preventive. And when we went for preventive, the doctors or the teams in those are diagnostic companies felt that we will bypass the doctors now. Because if the patient start coming directly to us before going to the doctor, where earlier the doctor would write a prescription.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
we are telling the people to come to us for test regularly. He's not unwell. He's healthy. So we are calling the patients. I won't use the word patient. We're calling the customers directly. He's not a patient. He's a customer. We're calling the customers directly to do regular checkups. So we have built those products: Healthy Heart, Women's Package, Children's Health Package, Senior Citizen Package. People are checking regularly. The doctors are not feeling good because you're circumventing them. You're going earlier. The doctors wanted the patients to come to diagnostic lab through them. So that was a stumbling block. The teams felt that the doctors will get a little bit pissed off with us and that will affect business because doctors are important. But we said that no, you have to tell the doctors that you are helping them basically. Because if there is a problem, we'll go back to the doctor only.
Yes.
The doctor is actually happy that they're going to the lab first, because if there is a problem, then he's going back to the doctor for treatment, because we don't do treatment. We are a pathology company. Our job is to just tell you what's going on in your body. So actually it is helping the doctor. We are not jumping over. We're actually sending the traffic back to the doctors.
Yes.
So this is a way you have to communicate to your teams that this is a larger purpose that you're trying to solve and all that. Of course, resistance will be there. That's in everywhere. In every industry, you'll have resistance. But then once growth is there, then people understand.
So what we also see is that, in the high growth phases, leaders often choose expansion at the cost of profitability. So how do you ensure growth and profitability move together?
No, I have been one of those leaders that has tried to keep a balance, because if you're a P&L in charge, the life is not so easy that you can say that I'm going growth and P&L will not be there. You have to balance both. You have to make a plan. Basically, Rishikesh, it's not about bad or good. It's about the plan. When you go to a company, you know it's not doing well. It's already not doing well. The EBITDA is already minus 20. Now, obviously, you're not going to come one fine morning and the EBITDA is going to be 30% growth. No. So you have to make a plan. And in the plan, it will be mentioned that, of course, the growth will move from this to that. There will be more cost. There will be more infrastructure coming. So maybe you will be more under financial burden. But this part of money is capex. This part is opex, because not everything is opex. Something is capex also, because that's an investment, right? So as long as you give the plan and your performance is up to mark as per the plan, that's what they want. The problem is, with the plan is something else and you're delivering something else. That's where the dissonance comes. That's where the problem comes. If you're going and telling a company that 2 years I won't make money because obviously I'm going to do this, then it's okay. But if you're telling the company, hire me, but I'm going to deliver from next month, I'm going to deliver 30% EBITDA and you're not, you will be told to leave. But set the right expectation. Both ways. Owners have to do with professionals. Professionals have to do with owner. Owners have to be transparent also. They can't say their company is great and then the professionals come and they know it's not great. They're stuck, right? They come to a wrong company. They didn't want to come to a company which was not growing. So the problem is, mostly both sides have to be, say the right things. The owners, the founders, the board has to tell the person that this is how it is. My company is not doing well. That's why we are hiring you. You have to give us a plan. And the guy who's coming should know the company is not doing well. Because if he came thinking that this company is doing a lot of growth and he's come and he say, oh, company is not doing, his job is at stake now. Because after 6 months, the company will say, now you've taken you. Okay, we are not doing well. Now you put it well. He's already left the job in the previous company. It happens. It's happening every day because the expectations is not set. Both sides, I'm saying.
Yes.
So profit growth has to be always profitable in the long term. Otherwise, there is no growth happening. Otherwise, these days we keep on saying, the startups are having this problem that they're raising millions of dollars and all that, but they're all not doing well. That's a problem actually, by the way.
Yes.
Because then the growth is just going from one person to another, not the company is not growing. Because sometimes the people and company are two different entities. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
the companies, sometimes the companies are not growing, the owners are growing. Sometimes the owners are not growing, the company is growing. So obviously it has to be seen both ways. The growth has to be profitable, because if it's not profitable, then it's not growth. But obviously for growth to happen, if someone has to become taller in height,
Hmm.
obviously he cannot become muscular at the same time. Either you can bring height or you can gain muscles. If you're telling a 12-year guy to gain muscles, then he won't grow tall.
Hmm.
Then he will be 5 feet 5 inches only.
Hmm.
But if you want someone at 13 years to become 6 feet tall,
Hmm.
then he has to become tall. Then he has to do cycling, not go to the gym. Because if he goes to the gym, his body won't become tall. So sometimes you have to gain height, but you can't gain weight. It is a trade off. In business, you have to have a trade off. Your owners will know that, okay, now you have to open 20 labs or you have to open 20 outlets. Obviously, there will be more pressure on your bottom line, because things will go bad before they get better. You have to take a bitter pill
Yes.
so that you become healthy. You have to take an injection, which is painful, to become healthy. You cannot, make something beautiful out of only good things. You have to take, but it has to be short term. Otherwise, the purpose gets defeated. So I think setting the right expectation is important. The growth has to be profitable. Sometimes it's not about growing only. Sometimes it's removing also.
Yes.
For example, if you got 100 outlets,
Hmm.
30 are doing well, 70 are not doing well, then you
Hmm.
have to see whether you need 70 or maybe have less, because sometimes the growth is somewhere else
Hmm.
and you're unnecessarily opening, because sometimes you feel you hire 100 more people, you will grow. No, you will add more pressure on your bottom line. You'll have more salaries to pay.
Yes.
Sometimes you feel if you increase the price, you will grow
Hmm.
because your turnover will improve because the price has gone up.
Hmm.
But then less people will come. So actually, it will be worse.
Yes.
Sometimes you feel if you reduce the price, the more people will come
Hmm.
because now more people are coming. Actually, no, it will go down because Reducing price is in your hand. As a leader, you can say, I was charging 100 rupees, now I'll charge 90 rupees. But at 100 rupees, 100 people were coming. At 90 rupees, those 100 will only come. So your turnover has gone down.
Right. Yes.
Because more people don't just suddenly come because you have dropped the price by 10%.
Yes.
You can make a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
So that is why you have to look at all the things properly, that how the growth will come. So growth has to be profitable. There is no balancing or this. Growth means,
Yes.
the company has to do well. Your bottom line has to be growing. Otherwise, why is it growth?
This is such an insightful thing, sir. Like, you have to find out that cutoff.
Yeah. A lot of people make that mistake. I've seen in diagnostics, like for example, vitamin D. We found out in 2012 that vitamin D is the biggest selling test in healthcare. In 2012, till 2012, Rishikesh, no one knew what the hell is vitamin D.
Yes.
I'm telling you, because I was in Lal's and Lal was the guys who were doing this checkup. Earlier, doctors were also not suggesting. Doctors had no idea.
Sir, every Indian has got a deficiency of vitamin
And
D.
it turned out in 2010 onwards, I am not sure 2012, but 2010 onwards, that this is actually, doctors are not even telling people to do vitamin D. And we came to know every next Indian has
Yes.
deficiency of vitamin D.
Same here.
And vitamin D leads to so many other problems.
Yes.
So it is like gateway healthcare problem. Because of this gateway healthcare problem, a lot of other problems are coming. Then we said, okay, vitamin D is so great, and we are charging, for example, 1,000 rupees. What if we charge 700 rupees? More people will come to do vitamin D. The volume may increase. The volume may increase, our turnover may go up. That is the basic thought, na?
Yeah.
You will reduce the price, now more people will buy, and you will do better. But actually, sometimes it doesn't work out. Actually, you go down, because earlier at least you were getting 100 people. Now you are getting those 100 only. Now the price has also gone down.
So sometimes it decreases also, sir. Sometimes maybe.
Sometimes when you reduce price, it shows, see, that sometimes low price also means bad quality.
Yes, exactly.
And especially if you are charging less price, I have seen, then you can't improve the price, because then your vendor or your customer won't increase it. Suppose your customer is used to, suppose you're buying something and you're paying your customer, charging your customer 50 rupees. Now you can't tell him, I want to charge you 90 rupees next year. It's very difficult. So you're stuck. That is why I tell a lot of companies, for competition, just don't reduce the price, because it is easy to reduce. But after that, you can't go up and your growth won't be profitable. Coming back to your earlier question,
Yes.
a lot of time because of growth, people reduce price. But actually, the growth doesn't come.
Yes.
Because less price means you're removing the skin on the bone, right? So if you want growth, removing price is not what will give you growth. But they have no other strategy. They say, oh, I have to deal with this market leader. I'm new in that geography. For example, you're going to West and there's a market leader in West and you are a challenger brand from North and you are going to West. Now, West company X is the market leader. And you are saying, what will I do to become that I get some business there, because obviously they're like 90% market share. The only thing comes to mind is they're charging 100 rupees, you charge 50 rupees, but give the same quality. But that doesn't happen. You charge 50 rupees, the customers don't come to you. And at 50 rupees, you can't manage. So your growth is not profitable. You are in worst situation now.
Yes.
And now you're locked out. Locked out how? Because now you're charging customer 50 rupees and you're losing business, you're losing money. At 50 rupees, you can't pay salaries. This is 100 costs you have. Now you go back to that customer, say, no, I'm now going to charge you 90 rupees. He say, get lost from here. Because now you can't reverse it. Better is you charge 100 and then slowly maybe going down. And tell him that, oh, this is a scheme for 2 months.
Yes. Yes.
Don't keep the sale board on your shop 365 days a year, the sale going on. Your brand gets spoiled. You can't build a brand if you have a sale board on your shop 365 days a year. Have you seen Rolex watch?
Yes.
They have the watch, but they say you can't buy the watch now. It'll come to you next year.
Yes.
You pay the money and we'll give it to you next year.
Yes.
Creating that scarcity, creating that prestige, creating that high value. Because sometimes high pricing is commensurate with high quality. Not always also, Rishikesh.
Yes.
Because it depends on product to product. What is the category of your product? Is it high involvement, low involvement? Is it an automobile? Is it a house? Is it a flat? Now, there in Gurgaon, there are apartments for 100 crores also.
Yes.
And their business not going down. Their business is actually, they're growing actually. The business is going down on these 50 lakh, 1 crore, 2 crore apartments. Here the problem is there. It's not growing real estate. There is no problem because there it's not about staying. It's about lot of it's social trophy
Yes, status.
that I'm status. The other, those primary product, secondary product, tertiary. It's about the tertiary part. Prestige. They are not playing for a house. They are playing on prestige. You know what kind of company you will have. Your neighbor would be a CEO of American Express. This neighbor would be a founder of this company. That company that you always buy, the founder will meet you 10 times in a day. You know, you will meet interesting people. Your opportunities can come out. You will be with the right kind of people. You pay for that premium. You pay for that kind of network. That's what it is. A lot of these things have to be seen holistically to evolve a strategy, whether it's growth or whether that. That's why I'm saying there's no one formula. And people who are from that industry sometimes lose that. They're only looking at things from that their own prism, from their own lens. But the lens is broad. So that is how I think working in different sectors can give you those multiple intelligences, as they are called, or multiple perspectives. But of course, both are important. You have to also have focus. You have to be that also, but it has to be both. It's like leadership is always like not this or that. It's everything coming together. Understand your customer better, basically. Understand who's your customer and what does he want. What works in company A may not work in company B. What works with customer A may not work with customer B. That's why it is about finding out what works for you.
Great, sir. Very insightful. And at the end of this podcast, we'd like to understand from you that when you look back across your career, what is that leadership lesson that has been the most critical in driving sustained business transformation?
I think basically for a leader, whenever he comes to a new organization, the first challenge for a leader, however good he may have been in his previous company, it starts from again from zero. Like a Tendulkar or something has played great and he has to again play in the next match. And say, I played well, now I have to. And just because he scored a century in the last match doesn't mean he'll score a century in the next match. So I think the first thing for a leader is to get acceptable in a new company. He has to get acceptable in a new company, right? For that, it means he has to be a 360-degree leader. That means he has to walk a balance between different constituencies in that company. He has to look at what is the vision of the board, because obviously they brought him in. So he has to have maximum loyalty with them because they are the ones who are giving him the job. They are the ones who brought him there. He has to look at their mandate. Second, he has to work very closely with his peers also, because he has to collaborate with them. So he has to understand from his team side also. You have to manage 360 degrees. You have to manage vertically, you have to manage horizontally, you have to manage down. X axis, Y axis. You have to manage all 365 degrees. So getting acceptable is your first step, because if you're not acceptable, you may be great leader, but if the teams are not resonating with you, see, why are some captains better than other captains in cricket? Without naming them, players were better as players, but they were not better as captains.
Right.
You're getting my point. Individually, they were better players than even the captain of that team. Without naming, we'll know that, for example, Ganguly was not the best batsman, right?
Yes.
But he could have been the best captain because he brought the team. Dhoni was not the best batsman. If he was the best batsman, he would be opening, right? Like Ricky Ponting. But he's not opening, or you're not coming at number one or number two also like Ricky Ponting. But he had some other skills which leaders should have. So I think the first thing is to get accepted in the team. And that happens only when you are leading by example. Leading by example means that if you're telling your staff that you come on time, a small example, it's not that you have to yourself be on time, right? If you are asking your team member to exhibit some behavior, then you have to yourself demonstrate that behavior. It happens in parenting also, right? In parenting also, you can't tell your child to do this. They don't watch mobile phones or don't be on screen. Then you're yourself on screen. Why should your child listen to that? So obviously you have to lead by example. As I said, you have to be fair and firm. If you have that combination of being fair and firm, the teams will see that sooner or later. And teams see that, Rishikesh, in 1 year they don't see it in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, maybe 9 months, because they're always thinking, they are not trusting you because you're new. So they are always feeling, what kind of a leader is he? Is he the right leader? Is he just pretending? Is he more pretentious? Or is he really authentic? So they will study you, they will observe you, your actions and your words have to match. You have to, that's why they say that leadership has to be commanded. You have to earn your stripes. You have to lead by example. And once they see that, you're firm, if you're getting if you're expecting someone to do something else, or you're rewarding those behaviors that you want, where it's not that you're getting angry with Jim, but you're also sometimes getting angry with Tom. It's not that you're always getting angry with Tom and Jim is always your buddy as a leader. You're always having lunch with Jim and you don't tell him anything when he's late, or when he doesn't meet his targets, you're soft to him. And with Jim, you're always getting angry, or you give him high targets and you giving him low targets. So he's always getting promoted and he's always not getting promoted because he's negotiated bad. He's not negotiated the targets well with you, and he is negotiated because he's your buddy. The biggest problem is that in sales, a lot of times sales team has that. No, someone who's like an aggressive sales guy will negotiate better targets with the leader. The leader says you do 100 crores, he'll say no, I'll do 90 crores. Because he's negotiated well. The other leader will not be, the other employee will not be so much. Either the leader will say you have to do 100 crores, he'll say, okay, sir, I'll do 100 crores. Now, appraisal time, what happens? He will be measured on 100 crores and he will be measured on 90 crores. Because the target is, now this leader has given the target to the board, 500 crores. Now, the board doesn't know why he's getting 100 and why he's getting 50 and why he's getting, board wants 100 crores, 500 crores. This guy is given, this guy has not achieved target, thinking that my target is 100 crores and this guy is getting 90 crores when his target should have been maybe 120 crores because he's got a bigger geography. But because he's negotiated better, we don't really know. So he's got better appraisals and this guy, or maybe the boss is little lenient to him. So you have to be fair and firm, that you can't be lenient with A and not be lenient with B. Either you be lenient with everyone or you be strict with everyone. So fair and firmness means you're fair and firm at the same time. You use your head and your mind at the same time. That's very important for a leader, because then only he will get respect. Other, he won't get respect. Second thing, I've seen a lot of leaders, when they come, they bring their own team members.
Yes.
Big problem in CXOs, especially in CXOs, because if you're not a CXO, you can't bring anyone. They won't allow you. But if you're a CXO, for example, you're a head of marketing or you're head of sales, you join from company A to company B. Company B is also happy. Oh, now 4 more salespeople will come from this big company. And now we'll achieve targets because the customers, they will take all the customers. It doesn't happen that way. Just because you're good in company A doesn't mean you're good in company B. And you don't have to bring your employees with you to the next company. They're good for you. They're not good for the company. I think the board and the management of the company shouldn't allow that, because tomorrow he leaves, he'll again take everyone. In fact, all your old people also he'll take. So I think you have to build people on your own long term, set examples, lead by examples, don't have partiality, be impartial, be transparent, set the right expectations. Sometimes I have seen also the leader will not give feedback to his team member. He'll say, oh, you're doing great job. You're going to great job. You're doing okay. He'll smile with him. He'll not tell him anything. Appraisal time, he'll give him nothing. And this guy is like, hey, you never gave me any feedback. You never told me I'm not doing this right or I'm not doing right. I thought everything was okay. So he's not set the right expectation. He's not told him anything, because he is one of those leaders who wants to catch bees with honey, not with vinegar. You can catch bees with either honey or with vinegar. So long term it comes out, and that is how you gain more respect. So you have to be sometimes strict, but you have to be fair also. It has to be both. It can't be this and that. I think long term people like that. Setting the right expectation, telling them what is expected out of you, what are we trying to do. I think people like that. So that's how it is mostly.
So thank you so much, sir, for sharing all these insights. Extremely grateful that you took out time to share all these insights to our audience. Very interesting session, and we look forward to hosting you again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, leadership is always like, it's not one size fits all. It has always, and you don't become a leader. It's always moving. It's work in progress. Your leadership 10 years back is not the kind of leader you are today, or you will be 5 years from now. It's like always work in progress. Nice talking to you, sharing my ideas. I hope it helps you and your audience. It was great interacting with you, Rishikesh. Thank you.
So just 1 minute.